Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. From now until June 17th, if you use this promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to win a Modern Horizons booster box. Also, there is a way to enter the drawing with no purchase necessary. See the description below for the full details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another day of Modern Horizons previews. We have a lot of cards to look at today. If you're curious as to the source of any of these previews, just check out the description below. You're going to find all the information there. And also, if you're looking to pick up some singles from Modern Horizons, go over to FlipsideGaming.com. They do have a number of them now on the website. And if you use that Heroes promo code, hopefully you can save a little cash while you support the channel. But without any further ado, let's get into it. Wizards showed us the tokens today for the set. Earlier, they did mention that the tokens would be double-sided, but today we got some more information as well. 1 out of every 4 packs will have a foil token. Those foil tokens won't be double-sided. This first one is a colorless shapeshifter token. In white, you'll find Angel, Bird, and Soldier. Blue, Illusion. Black, Marit Lage, and we'll talk more about that later, and Zombie. Red has 2 different elementals and Goblin. Green has Bear, Elephant, Rhino, Spider, and Squirrel. Here's a multicolor Spirit token, white and black. Artifact tokens include Construct, Golem, and Mirror. And you got your 2 emblems, Sarah and Ren. Ephemerate. Okay, this is similar to Cloud Shift, in some ways better with the rebound giving it more value, but Cloud Shift never really saw a lot of play or anything like that, so I'm not feeling this. Maybe you could play this a little bit in Pauper, but I still think Ghostly Flicker is going to outclass this there. Now, if you're a Commander player and you like to play the Blink decks, you could probably work this in. When it comes to Limited, remember Azorius will be the Blink colors. It will be great there. But regardless, if you have good enters the battlefield effects on your creatures, look for this in your pool. Gilded Light. This one's a reprint originally from Scourge. It wasn't uncommon there, now a common, so Pauper players pay attention. You might want to try it out there. It could be good. Modern, maybe Astral Drift, if that deck can get there. There's a number of cards today we're going to talk about that do encourage that archetype a little bit, but time will tell. Although, aside from that, you might even consider playing this out of the sideboard to deal with a Storm deck or a Burn deck or Mill even. In Limited, this will be a sideboard card probably most of the time for you, unless of course you have Astral Drift and you're looking for more ways to cycle. Everdream. Okay, this is obviously kind of a take on Evermind. And I think it's got a slight chance at Modern. Maybe a control deck would appreciate something like this. It's a little clunky, like 2 to use it at instant speed to draw a card. You really want to splice onto an instant or sorcery. That's where this card becomes good. But that does cost a blue and 2. That's why I think Control. Control might have the extra mana to be able to do this more often than most decks. I'd give it a chance there, at least maybe test it out. In Commander, this could be solid as long as you have a lot of instants and sorceries. It's just going to help you move through your deck. It's awesome that, of course, remember, when you use the splice, you don't lose the card. So as long as you keep playing instant and sorcery cards and you have the mana to use this, you get to keep drawing cards. In Limited, it could be good. Better if you have more instants or sorceries, of course. Perhaps best in an Izzet build. Fairy Seer. This is actually a pretty sweet 1-drop Fairy Wizard that lets you scry 2 when it enters the battlefield. Gives you a little board presence in the air. Nothing wrong with that. In Modern, maybe the Fairy decks will get pushed at some point, and this is a good start to that. I don't think they're there quite yet to be like a tier 1 deck or anything like that, but maybe down the road. In Pauper, though, I'm very interested in this card. Fairy decks are very good. This is going to be a strong addition to them. Sure, there's a 1-drop Fairy that's very strong in Fairy Miscreant already, but that doesn't mean this card doesn't have any space. I do think they can work in conjunction together. In Limited, this will be a great pickup. This is a strong 1-drop common card. You don't see ones that are this good that often, but being able to play this on turn 1 or even turn 2, go deeper into your deck, hopefully find the lands you need if you still need lands at that point, or later in the game, push those lands to the bottom of your deck so you get some heat coming up. Definitely a good card to have there. Marit Lage's Slumber. Okay, so we saw the token earlier. It's not Dark Depths, but it's something that is kind of an homage to it. So here's the deal. Let's talk Modern first. As cool as it would be to get all this work in with the snow permanents and get the 2020 indestructible flyer, it still dies the path to exile, and that's not going to feel real good. Your opponent's going to have many turns to see this coming. Not feeling it there. However, Commander players, if you wanted a reason to play the snow deck, well, maybe this is finally a good payoff for you. Simic and Draft will appreciate this because, of course, they're going to be playing with snow permanents the most. But you know what? Even if you're not necessarily in the position to get to the point where you think you can easily get this 20/20 creature, you could still just play this for the scry effect. That might still be good in a lot of the Simic builds, especially if you're in sealed and you have less opportunities to really pile on the snow permanents. Meriden Besieged. Okay, of course that was a set, now it's a card. This is pretty creative. I really like the design and flavor here. When it comes to modern, well, I don't know, we're getting Urza, so perhaps there's some kind of brew there you might be able to figure out. I do think this card really shines in Commander, though. That's where you can probably take the most advantage of it. I do think it's cool that the Phyrexian kind of alternate condition here only makes one opponent lose the game, so you don't necessarily knock out the whole table or just win the game in Commander. You do have to kind of be a little more methodical about it. I think, again, that's good design. In Limited, there's not a lot of artifact potential for you unless you happen to get really lucky in a draft, I suppose. We haven't seen the whole set yet, so I don't know. Maybe there's more good ones out there. But that Phyrexian side does let you loot every turn. And you know, looting is very good for 3 mana. I would consider running this in a deck a lot of the time. Moonblade Shinobi. We're going to see a few ninjas today, finally, and it's starting to feel like a true tribe now for the limited environment. Dimir ninjas will definitely be a thing. They look like they could be pretty strong, too. This is a perfect example. This has ninjutsu for 2 and blue, and whenever this deals combat damage to a player, you get to create a 1/1 flying illusion. So even if for some reason your ninjas start having trouble and start pittering out, hopefully you'll have some flyers to close out the game. Very interesting card there. In Commander, of course, you're going to want as many ninjas as you can for those Yuriko builds. Here's another good one. Phantom Ninja here is another one that is going to let you enable ninjutsu. Also, you know what? A 2/2 for 3 that can't be blocked is never a bad thing in Draft or Sealed either. So that alone might make you want to play this even if you don't have a lot of ninjutsu going on for some reason. Like I said, also, Commander Yuriko, same story here. Now, at some point, it would be cool to see a Ninja Modern deck get there. I don't know if this set alone is going to be able to bring all those pieces together, though, but maybe in the future. Watcher for Tomorrow, Human Wizard. This could see modern play. I really like the Hideaway effect. I think that's quite strong. And it is a human, you know that's the magic word, so I would pay attention to it. Now, this card obviously becomes a lot better if you have a lot of ways to blink it. Commander Blink decks are going to love this card. It's going to be phenomenal there. And Limited, remember, white and blue are going to be focused on flicker effects. Defile, kind of like a targeted Mutilate, so that's kind of a fun throwback there. And I do think this has a chance at Modern just simply because it says that the creature will get -1/-1 until end of turn for each swamp you control, not basic swamp. So that does count if you're using like Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, or maybe just your Shocklands, which give you black mana. They count as swamps, for example. So I do think it is a potentially strong removal spell there for only 1 black at instant speed. Nothing wrong with that, right? So something to test maybe in that format. Pauper, it's going to be phenomenal there. Mono Black Control is going to love this card for sure. Commander, yeah, I could see play there too. Limited, you're going to love it if you get the opportunity to play it. Even if you only have a little bit of black in your deck and it's a 1 casting cost -2/-2 or -3/-3, it's still going to be worth it. Mind Rake, kind of a take on Mind Rot here, but this is very interesting. If you play it for a black and 2 sorcery speed, target player discards 2 cards, just like Mind Rot, right? But look at that overload. Black and 1, each player discards 2 cards then. Okay, so that's a real cheap way to make everybody discard. You discard yourself, which does not have to be a drawback. Remember, there's a lot of decks that play Ensnaring Bridge, there's reanimation decks out there. I do think this will actually be perfect in Modern 8-Rack because it does get around hexproof. Now, Delirium Skeins is there already, but I do think, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be one or the other. Maybe you look at both of these cards to some degree, test it out, and see how they play. Delirium Skeins is going to do 3 cards, but it costs 1 more. This is a little bit cheaper and does 2 cards. Personally, I kind of like this one, and I'd like to test it out and see how it goes. This might even see some legacy play. I do think the potential's there with that overload cost. Limited, Mind Rot is one of those cards that you play some of the time. It just depends on what your deck's doing. Not great in an aggressive build typically, but if you're a little more controlling and methodical, it can be a good limited card. And in that regard, I think this will be the same way. Even if you just play it as a Mind Rot and never touch the overload ability, this could still be good in some decks. Back to ninjas with Ninja of the New Moon. This one is just a heavy hitter, 6/3. Sneak this one in with ninjutsu for a black and 3, and somebody's taking a lot of damage. Just like the others, it will be great in Dimir Ninjas and Yuriko and Commander. Smiting Helix, kind of a fun little play on Lightning Helix here. Of course, look at that flashback cost. So modern, I don't know, maybe like Mardu Pyromancer can loot this away and then you can play it cheap early on. That might be interesting, but requires a little testing. That might be a long shot. Other than that, though, limited, yeah, you're going to love this card there. Even if you can't cast the flashback cost consistently, playing this for a black and 3 is still going to be good there. Throat Seeker. This one's a vampire ninja, so commander players who like ninjas and Yuriko decks or vampires, we got you covered here. This one's a 3/2 for 3. I'm usually not a big fan of those stats in Draft or Sealed because they can trade down quite easily for 2 drops. However, there's an ability attached to this one. At any time, if you sneak a ninja in, and this is on the battlefield, or you sneak this one in, you could get a nice little point swing. Or just generally, if you start to overwhelm your opponent, you're going to have opportunities to gain life on top of the damage you're doing. A good uncommon to watch for if you're drafting these Dimir ninjas. Alpine Guide. Interesting card here. It is a snow creature, so it does count as a snow permanent. It's not in the Simic colors, but that's okay. It is very splashable if you find yourself needing another one in limited. I think this is going to be a good limited card. It ramps you out a little bit, but it's only temporary. It's a very red way of doing ramp. And the stats are pretty good. A 3/3 for 3 does have to attack every turn. Sure, that could cause you to eventually lose the creature, and when you do, you lose the mountain. That's why the ramp is kind of temporary. But I think it's a cool idea. Outside of limited, this doesn't feel like it has the power level for, say, modern. But in Commander, this could actually be a pretty sweet card. Because think of it this way. It does not say basic mountain, so you can go ahead and search up a dual land, anyone that counts as a mountain, put that in play, and then when the time comes to sacrifice a mountain, you can just sacrifice a basic one, and it actually kind of fixed your color a little bit. You could also try this with Kiki Jiki and Valakut. That could be an effective combo. So I actually think this is a pretty good red commander card. I could see a lot of decks playing this. Geomancers Gambit, interesting common here. I don't think this is going to be great for modern land destruction, though, because typically those decks play Blood Moon, and this is kind of counterintuitive to that strategy. Pauper, though, yeah, maybe a sideboard card against Tron could be decent there. Limited, if you're in Gruul, you might actually use this on your own lands because there is going to be benefit to having lands in the graveyard. This could color fix for you, perhaps, or just create a situation where you get that extra land in the graveyard and thin out your deck a bit. This cantrips, too. Magmatic Sinkhole, here's a red delve spell for you. It doesn't hit player, and that's a big setback for the spell. It does do 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker, though, and it potentially could be cheap at the right time. Now, modern, it's a stretch, but maybe a sideboard card to deal with the planeswalker and or a big quick creature like Tarmogoyf, but I'm not completely sold on that. In limited, though, instant speed, this will be a great card for you, especially again in the Gruul colors where you might have a lot of lands going to your graveyard. Urza's Rage. Okay, here's an interesting reprint. This got downshifted to uncommon, originally from Invasion, also in Phyrexia versus the Coalition in Commander 2015. Don't have much to say about it, unfortunately, these days. I think it will be a fine limited card, though. Frostwalla. Okay, this one is a little disappointing, kind of a take on Basking Root Walla, but without the madness, and the madness is what made that card great. Now, with that being said, in limited, it's still going to be really good for you. 2/2/3 casting cost snow permanent that you can pump with snow to give it +2/+2 till end of turn. Can only do it once per turn, though, like the original Basking Root Walla. But you know what? That's still going to be good enough for Draft or Sealed. You can get in with a big attack here or there. Defensively, it's a nice little threat. It will be best in the Simic colors because they care about snow the most, and it's going to be probably the easiest to actually use the ability there. But overall, very solid limited card. Outside of limited, I'm not really feeling it. If you have a casual or commander deck and you just really need another snow creature, I guess it's there for you. Krosan Tusker. Okay, another classic card. This one is a awesome limited card if you have a chance to play with it in Draft or Sealed, and it is a common, so that's kind of nice. It could see a little modern play, maybe an Astral Drift again if that deck can get there. But I know what you're waiting for. You want me to say the list of places it was printed before. Okay, here we go. Onslaught, Friday Night Magic Promo, Arch Enemy, Garruk versus Liliana, Heroes vs. Monsters, Elves vs. Inventors, Dual Decks Anthology, Commander 2013, and Masters 25. Tornado. Fun name, but I don't have a lot to say about it. It's a limited card, good for taking out a flyer. A little more expensive than Plummet, but it gives you the cycling option, so if you needed to main deck it, you could. I would probably still leave this in my sideboard, though, most of the time, unless I had Astral Drift or something like that. Another reprint here with Walla Blossoms, originally from Stronghold. Also got a Friday Night Magic promo, Plane Chase 2012, Plane Chase Anthology, Commander 2015, Commander 2016, Commander Anthology, and from the Vault 20. So this has seen a little legacy play in the past, and I do think because of that, probably good enough to see at least a little modern play here or there. I do think, again, if that Astral Drift deck can get there, then yeah, that deck will want this card. Limited, this is always going to be good, and again, remember the Azorius colors are trying to blink. But if you can work this into one of those decks, maybe you're just splashing it even, you could find some real value there with some flicker effects. Reap the Past. To me, this is another card that's here because of that Gruul lands in the graveyard matters theme. Could be good there and limited if you happen to pick this up as a rare. But unfortunately, Modern, I don't like the fact that it's random. I don't like that it costs 2 to start. I don't like that it's a sorcery. Not really feeling it there. Commander, though, is another place where this card could shine. You just have bigger mana. You could have bigger moments with this card. Rot Widow Pack. Here's another card to me that is just basically a limited card, but a good one if you're in these colors. 2/4 reach, it's very protective, so it's a giant spider with tons of upside. That's pretty cool. Granted, you have to pay black and green for this one, but giant spider is usually good enough to play in Draft Your Sealed anyway. And then because you have the graveyard theme and Golgari, that ability makes a lot of sense. Also, remember, changelings are a thing in this set too, and black and white focus on those. Black, of course, one of the Golgari colors too. Commander, maybe time for Spider Tribal. Soul Herder, look at that Seb McKinnon art, just killing it again, killing it. So this is, again, for me, more of a limited card than anything. I think it could be a great card, though, in those Azorius Blink decks again. And far be it for me to say that the Astral Drift deck won't get there in Modern. As I've been saying throughout the video, they are trying to give you a lot of pieces, so I guess we'll find out. This doesn't have evasion, and it is rather fragile when it enters the battlefield, so this one still might not make it. This could find a home in Commander Blink decks, though. Unsettled Mariner. Okay, here we go. Now, this one's good. This is going to see Modern play. 2 casting cost, 2/2, Changeling. It's a human. It's a spirit. I don't have to say anything more than it's a human, right? It's a human. It's seeing Modern play. I actually think it could be good in the humans deck. Might even see play in like the Legacy humans deck. I think the Modern Spirit deck will appreciate this as well. Not as great in Slivers if you're trying to build the Sliver deck because Slivers already have Diffusion Sliver now. So it might not work out great there, but definitely there'll be places for this thing. Commander, I don't think it's going to be great there just because everybody has so much mana at their disposal. I don't think that ability matters all that much for the most part. Limited, this is a great curve filler with upside. You're going to like it there too. Changeling could come into play sometimes and the ability could come into play early on in the game. Universal Automaton. This is there for limited if you're trying to push the Changeling strategy. Orzhov is where that strategy is going to be the strongest, so maybe you play it in those type of decks. But regardless, if you have some tribal benefits, this card becomes interesting. It is a 1-drop 1/1 though that isn't really doing anything special unless other cards are making it better. So a lot of the time you might just skip it. This is a common, so what about Pauper? Could you throw this in a Sliver deck? Honestly, I just think Metallic Sliver is going to be better in that situation. Alright, that wraps up today's previews. Tomorrow we will be back and do another video looking at everything that does get previewed over the next 24 hours. But until then, hey, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon and have a great day.